Hello my friends, this is Sylvie Curry, Lady of Cube, and today we're going to be making pork cutlets. I've got pork trim here that I'm going to slice into slices and then tenderize it. Let's go ahead and get on with that step. Just take a piece, and this is the pork section that comes from the pork butt, and it's a muscle that no one ever uses because it's usually pretty tough, and unless it's very, very well marbled, it's going to be dry. This piece actually looks like it's quite marbled, so it's okay. And see, I've got it into nice little slices, which are probably a little bit more than 1/4 inch, less than 1/2 inch. Then I've got this smaller piece, which I'm going to see if I can just fillet it out and make it into one piece. There may be part of it that's a little thicker, and we can just cut that off. Actually, there's a little bit of a tough section in there that we needed to get rid of anyway. Then I'll go on with some of the other pieces. And the grains don't always go the right way, so I may be cutting the wrong way, but once I tenderize it and go through the process of cooking it, you won't know. You won't know the difference. I can make this into one big piece, fillet it out, or I can make it into 2 smaller pieces. I think I'm going to make this into a big piece, just because, well, maybe not, because it's got a little hole there, so let's cut it in half. So I've got 2 smaller pieces. Got another one that could be filleted out, possibly. Now you said, what am I going to do with this? I'm going to make pork cutlets, and that process is going to involve breading, and I'm going to use panko breadcrumbs to do that. Just even this out some. In which case now I have a piece that's a little bit larger. And these are all little pieces, which I can use also. It's another piece that I'm going to fillet out to make it larger. Now because we tenderize this with the jacket, and this is our jacket, it makes it, once it's pounded out, it's a little bit more flat. In addition to that, it becomes tender. I have some smaller pieces that are already small. I'm going to leave these. And that's our pieces. Now to do the pounding, let's start off with a small little piece. Pound the crap out of this meat. Turn it over, pound it even more. I'm going to go through this process with some of the other pieces, and when we come back I will have them all done, and then we can go on to the next step. I've pounded most of them all out. I've only have a few left. And I'm just going to do a little bit more to show you the process. And there we have it. Let me show you a few of the other slices that I did just a while ago. And they come out pretty thin. You can see by all the holes in it that it's going to be very, very tender. Here's some of the ones that were irregularly shaped that I cut down the middle to make them, what you call it, scalloped or filleted, so that I made one piece into a larger piece. There were some others that were fairly large. This is another one where I had cut it down the middle and opened it up to make one large cutlet. Here are my ingredients. I have 2 eggs that are beaten. I'm going to start out with 2. I may need a little bit more later on, but I'll just add that later. Got salt, pepper, panko breadcrumbs, flour, and these are my cutlets that have been tenderized. And I did not add any salt and pepper to the flour. I'm going to put the salt and pepper directly on the meat. Get a sprinkling of salt on each of the cutlets. And I find that I only have to do one side because they're thin enough. If I put it on both sides, I find that that oversalts them. Then we'll put pepper. It's just a sprinkling. Can't give you any measurements. This is just a sprinkle. And it's to your taste anyway. If you like a lot of pepper, add more pepper. If you like a lot of salt, add more salt. If you like less, then take it away. In this step, I'm going to flour each of our pieces. Just make sure they get a coating all over. And I'm going to put flour on all of them to start. And then go on to the next step and the next step and the next step. And I find that this makes it where I can keep my hands a little cleaner. Just make sure you get that flour on all sides. That's going to help keep that egg on. And keeping the egg on means that when we put it in the panko breadcrumbs, that stays on better. And we can lay these on top of each other at this point. There are other ways to put flour on. You could have, or I could have, put it in a plastic bag, shake it around. Now the question becomes, if you have extra flour after you've already coated everything, what do you do with it? One of the suggestions I have is you don't have to throw it away. All you have to do is put it in a plastic bag, label it, what it is, and the date, stick it in the freezer. And that way, you don't have to worry about contamination or if any meat juices will spoil in your flour. And you can reuse it for another day. Then our next step is to coat the cutlets in the egg wash and then into the panko breadcrumbs. One of the things that makes this very easy, you can do all of this in advance. Once you've gone through and you've coated the cutlets, just put them in the refrigerator, and when you get closer to serving time and when you want to fry them up, then just put them all in the refrigerator and you're good to go. We're going to start here, do a coating of our egg wash with one hand. Let that drip, stick it in our breadcrumbs, and then take our dry hand and coat the cutlets. For a big cutlet like this one, we have helped to have a bigger pan, but this still works out. And I like to try to push them in there so that the coating is pretty thick, but not where it's going to gum up and clump up. We have one done. Then we'll do another one into our wash. And make sure you get that wash all over. Put them in the breadcrumbs. So to pound them in. Turn it over. And you can do some more pounding to get those breadcrumbs in that cutlet. There you have it. And you guys will see, once I cook these, when we fry them, they get really crisp and nice. And that crispness actually, after you don't eat them all, you put them in the refrigerator. Tomorrow, take it out. And you want it crisp again, all you need to do is stick it in the toaster oven for a little bit to heat up. And they'll crisp right back up again. Our pork cutlets have been dipped in flour, egg wash, and the panko breadcrumbs. They're all in there. I'm going to put them in the refrigerator. Dinner's a couple hours off. And as I said before, they'll be good. Then we'll take them up and fry them up. Pork cutlets for dinner tonight. I can hear a little bit more sizzle in my pot, so that I know my oil is pretty hot. I'm going to start out by putting one of the cutlets in. Yes, hear that? It's hot enough. How long do we cook this? Just cook it till it gets to the brownness you want. Not really a dark golden brown, but where it looks crispy enough. You can also tell if it's done by whether or not you have a lot of bubbles. By having a lot of bubbles here, it indicates that there's still a lot of moisture in the surface that's cooking off. If there's moisture in the surface, you won't get crisp. Take it out, let some of the oil drip back down into the pot. And I'm putting it on a wire rack so we can also help in the draining. In between the cooks, what I also like to do is go in and sort of filter out some of those pieces of bread crumbs or the panko that have fallen off. Otherwise, all they'll do is just burn, and that'll distaste your cooking oil. Our cutlet is ready. I've got some vegetable and fruit sauce, which is a Tonkatsu sauce, which goes with pork cutlets very well. Give it a little shake. Put a little dollop here on the side for dipping. And we'll get a little cut into our cutlet. You can hear how crispy and crunchy that is. Ordinarily, it's served cut into little strips. Which you just take and you dip it in your little dipping sauce. And then it comes right here. Yum. Crunch. Very good. Very well seasoned. The Tonkatsu sauce adds a little bit more flavor to it too. Didn't need it. Probably very good without that. What I like is the crunch. Yum. Pork cutlets with Tonkatsu sauce. Something else to do with pork butt trim from a barbecue competition. I always relate this to barbecue because that's where I get all these meats to cook and to experiment with and to do for fun meals for my family and friends. This is Sylvie Curry, Lady of Q. I want you to like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Come on back, you hear? Okay, love you all. Bye-bye.